G'day guys and gal. Although the Custodes don't often like to leave the Sol system too often, they have done so on numerous occasions, either to prevent a potential threat to Terra, to undertake a special mission given by the Emperor, or if you're a Shadow Keeper, to chase the Boogeyman and put him back in his box. As such, they have encountered various other factions and races in their time, factions who originally think that they are just spicy Space Marines until the killing gets started. However, it isn't just Golden Boys dumps to everyone. The other races have actually clapped the Custodes pretty hard on occasion in unexpected ways, which makes for some pretty fun lore. Before we get started, there is no magic one-trick bullet for healthy hair. It's a multi-stage battle that requires a number of weapons in your arsenal. Probably the easiest and most convenient one is the Scalp Buffer by Manscaped. I'm very big on having a healthy head of hair, not just from a growth standpoint, but also how it looks and feels. The Scalp Buffer is the ultimate head hygiene product as it uses antibacterial silicone bristles. By rubbing this into your scalp, not only are you dislodging dead skin cells, breaking up old hair product, and penetrating deeper with shampoo for maximum hygiene, but it also stimulates blood flow to the scalp, thus is also good for your hair follicles. Pairing this up with the Manscaped's 2-in-1 shampoo conditioner combo, and you'll have soft, clean, and awesome smelling hair. But why stop there? Manscaped has a huge range of products to keep you looking and smelling your best. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra keeps everything below your neck clean and tidy and nick-free. The Handyman is the ultimate neckbeard destroyer. The deodorant gives you a really nice, refined, manly smell. That's the only way I can describe it. Amongst many, many more products. The best part is that by using my link below, you get 20% off and free international shipping. Cheers to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over each faction or race's opinion of the Custodian Guard, detailing the times they encounter some of the 10,000 and what has happened. Also, we have a few leftover Raven Guard Trader Hunters from the launch last month, so we're running a cheeky 20% off sale to clear out the last few dozen. So if you missed out, the link for that will be below. Let's get into it. As a quick lore recap on my favourite boys, the Custodians were handcrafted by the Emperor to be his ultimate companions and guardians. They are faster, stronger, smarter, more loyal, and more willful than Space Marines, with Custodes generally able to take out entire Space Marine squads and turn the tides of battles. They speak with the Emperor's voice and are his ultimate authority. However, they are not infallible or unkillable. Their rigid, direct way to dealing with things has occasionally led them to getting fucked, and they have lost many of their number over the millennia. Yes, new Custodes are made, but the process is slow and expensive. Let's start off with Chaos, as these are the guys Chaos spends the most amount of time mulching through. During the Heresy, the traders considered the Custodes to be a massive threat and a key factor in deciding the result of the siege. However, what they didn't know for most of the Heresy is that most Custodians were killed during the Secret War of the Webway, but that does show that they considered them a threat. Lorgar personally hated the Custodes. As for Chaos itself, because the demons won the war in the Webway despite their horrific losses, they aren't too scared of the Custodes. However, Sisters of Silence can give demons true death, so they are shit scared of them, with demons often self-banishing as opposed to fighting the sisters and risking true death. It's quite rare for a Custodian to join a battle, so most servants of Chaos are yet to see them. However, as they have been around for the entire lifespan of the Imperium, their existence or appearance isn't a shock. Many Chaos champions get excited to face Custodians, as they are a worthy opponent and slaying one would net them a lot of respect. However, this often ends with the Chaos champion in question getting a Guardian Spear shoved up their ass. Fabius Bile found them extremely interesting, so was hell-bent on collecting some of their corpses for experimentation. However, as of yet, he hasn't been able to produce anything from it, either because their genetic code is too complex for even him, or they are too pure that anything he creates from their DNA would be anti-Chaos. Overall, it would be a similar reaction to how the Imperium would feel when a Chaos-possessed champion appears. The Imperium is aware they exist and has killed them before, but they know they're in for a hell of a fight whenever one appears. An interesting note is that as Custodes are all imbued with a sliver of the Emperor's will, Chaos cultists who see Custodes will often have the corruption banished from their minds, making them see the error of their ways and repent. How did the Elder feel about them? Well, Elder and Custodian lore is quite spaghetti to say the least. Harlequins probably aren't too worried about them, since the only time they fought, the Harlequins cut through dozens of them like chaff. Now, this was very controversial lore that people still beef about to this day. Custodi fans are upset since it makes the Custodes look weak as hell, as if they were nothing but cannon fodder guardsmen. Non-Custodi fans get mad that Custodi fans get mad about it, since non-Custodi fans don't think Custodi should always be these unbeatable Mary Sues, and that Harlequins themselves are elite warriors capable of killing Custodes easily. So having the Custodes getting slapped sometimes is good for them. However, the issue isn't really the Harlequins killing Custodes, it's more so the context of why. The Harlequins were trying to reach the Emperor to tell him that although the Orcs were a big problem, that he should still worry about Chaos, as the Imperium had grown weak and complacent after the Horus Heresy, as Chaos was licking its wounds and was not yet ready to be a threat again. So the Harlequins charged to try get to the throne room, killing Lucifer Blacks and then Custodes while yelling out, friendship, friendship. Eventually all Harlequins bar one are killed, with the remaining one being captured. So the Harlequins are fucking retarded, thinking they can just chat to the Emperor after massacring their way through his guardians, and the Custodians look like weak bitches. The author did neither faction any credit, and yes, Custodes getting one shot by Eldar as if they're cannon fodder is pretty stupid. The Harlequins didn't even have a Solitaire, who was the only Eldar unit type, bar Phoenix Lords, who would be able to reliably cut through Custodes. A Shadowseer should only be able to take out like one, maybe two, not dozens. Some people think that the writer mistook Custodes for Lucifer Blacks, however that isn't the case. He makes a distinction between the two warrior types and even tries to sort of gas the Custodians up, making the Elder be like, wow, these guys are tough, as she one-shots a whole bunch of them. But yeah, pretty stupid lore. This book also isn't super old, so unlike early Horus Heresy books, when they hadn't figured out how powerful they wanted to make Custodes, the writer was aware of general Custodi power, but chose to make this. The Craft Worlders or Exodites don't really have an opinion as far as I can tell, as Custodes never invade Craft Worlds or Maiden Worlds, since neither will ever threaten Terra, and the Emperor wouldn't send them there, so there's no reason for them to go there. I imagine Autarchs would find them an interesting foe, with some Elder likely respecting them in a similar way to how they respect the Emperor. The Dark Elder, on the other hand, find them interesting as hell. In their first few engagements, they were shocked by how the Custodes massacred them, so they managed to capture a few of them. Some they sent to the arena, others they sent to their homunculi to experiment on, and the rest they massacred around their replica of the Golden Throne. They don't appear to be intimidated or afraid of them anymore, which makes sense. If you capture a bunch and can torture them into insanity before brutally killing them, they probably don't seem too intimidating anymore. How about the Necrons? Well, in a similar vein to the Eldar, the Necrons don't often punch on with the Custodes, but it has happened a few times. Trajan Valoris led an invasion of a Necron tomb world early in his career, wiping it out. The Dread Host also destroyed an invasion force of Necrons. The Solar Fury's Shield Host also once got involved, taking out a tomb world that was close to Terra. Basically, any Necron force too close to Terra gets marked for destruction by the Custodian Guard. Trazyn finds the Custodians especially interesting and has captured at least two for his collection. One of them he uses a Pokemon during the fall of Cadia to slow Abaddon down and give Belisarius Cawl more time to activate the pylons. That Custodian was slain by Abaddon in single combat. The other he keeps in his exhibition. I'd say overall, the Necrons aren't the biggest fan of Custodes considering how many tomb worlds have been destroyed by them. In saying that, they did recently get a dub, a Necron Overlord decapitating a Custodian in single combat. You gotta take the small wins. Surprisingly, the Tau and Custodes have actually fought each other once. Basically, the Tau had taken a world not too far from Terra, which housed numerous important Imperial relics. A strike force led by the Custodes went to reclaim the relics, and the two sides fought. The Tau managed to kill the Custodian shield captain from far away, making them think Custodes were just taller, shinier space marines and not very special. However, their assessment soon backfires as the Tau commanders were all slaughtered by a squad of Custodes on jet bikes who sought revenge. So while the Tau are likely aware of the Custodes and see them as a threat, they don't quite understand the full scope of them or what their purpose is. The Tyranids see the Custodes as especially difficult prey and will often exercise additional caution when fighting them. After all, a single squad of Custodes managed to defeat an entire army of Tyranids and even killed the Swarm Lord by funneling them into a choke point and taking them out 300 style. Usually when Tyranids want to assassinate someone, they send a Lictor. However, when they wanted to assassinate Lord Solar Leontis, one of the Imperium's highest ranking generals who was guarded by Custodes, they sent a Norn Emissary, one of the deadliest Tyranid forms ever created. The Emissary managed to kill multiple Custodians, but was then slain by Trajan Valoris himself, so they clearly recognized the threat the Custodians pose. It's unclear if the Tyranids have managed to consume and assimilate Custodian DNA yet. Every time they've fought against the Custodians and killed some, the Tyranids have ended up getting beaten, so they likely haven't been able to eat and upload the Custodian DNA, hence there is no bioforms created using Custodian DNA that I am aware of. Perhaps their DNA is too pure to warp into a bioform, but I doubt it. I'm sure we'll see one soon enough. The Orcs haven't expressed a very strong opinion of the Custodians. I believe they may have been a bit put off by them after the triumph of Ulanor, where the Emperor and 1,000 Custodians managed to kill 100,000 Orcs, while only losing 3 of their own number. If that sounds stupid, just remember that these were the most powerful Custodians, the Emperor's chosen, and were in the top 10% of Custodes. Also, Custodes are very well suited for killing Orcs. Their armor would resist most Orc attacks, their strength and speed is greater than Orcs, not to mention their skill. I can definitely imagine the Orcs, after getting slaughtered with a KD ratio of 1 to 33,333, would not enjoy fighting Custodes. In saying that, a lot of Orc action has been happening outside of the Custodes focus, so the two factions rarely encounter each other. The Orcs have likely forgotten the slaughter at Ulanor and would be keen to test themselves against such a mighty foe. Now for last and probably least, what did the Gene Stealers think of the Custodians? I mean, they literally had a box pitting them against each other recently, which, you know, bit of a mismatch, but well. Gene Stealers have actually set up many cults on Terra, which is no big surprise. With Terra's gigantic population and endless slums and dark corners, the Gene Stealers were always going to thrive. The Custodians were sent to purge the cults and purify Terra, and while they did succeed, a number of Custodians died. One was hit in the face by a mining laser, another torn apart by gunfire, a few more were crushed by collapsed tunnels. When Trajan himself led the final invasion to take out the Gene Stealer Patriarch, it said that for every Custodian that was killed, hundreds of Gene Stealers died. So overall, the tally of dead Custodians would have been decently high, although they did triumph and the Gene Stealers were crushed. As such, I imagine Gene Stealer cults are incredibly wary of Custodians. As far as I'm aware, we don't get to see any Custodians get infected, nor is it clear if they even can be infected. Their DNA and immune systems being potentially too great to be subverted, and even if they were infected, they would likely be able to resist its effects, like some Space Marines have been able to. Either way, I imagine the Gene Stealers harbor nothing but hatred for the boys in gold. So overall, no real surprises. Custodians are great at killing shit, so the shit they kill hates the hell out of them, with maybe a tinge of respect thrown in for such a mighty foe. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the Ravenlord Trader Hunter. 20% off, only a few dozen left, and that's it. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more golden content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.